This is how I would create a transparent ping in order to use as a logo in Lightroom. So I'm going to go ahead. I've just created a document that right now is 10 inches wide by 6 inches deep. And I created it this shape because this is the shape and size that I want to create my document at. In order for this transparent ping to really work effectively in Lightroom, you need to actually have it as the shape, because when you make your ping, that's the shape it's going to be. So if I were to put some tiny little bit in the center of this, maybe like a circle or a square or something, we can just go ahead and draw a square and save this as the ping. It would also include the entire outside and surrounding areas, and we don't really want that. We just want the whole thing. And we can always make it smaller. So I am just suggesting that you create a very high quality, very large document, and then you can always make it smaller. And that way you have it later on if you want to vary the sizes. And I would also create this as a PSD and save it with all its layers before exporting it as the transparent ping. So that's the process we're going to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep this background white. It's fine for now. And we're going to add a new layer. So we go up here to Layer, New, Layer. That's pretty simple. Layer 1. I'm not going to bother to label this right now. And you can see this is a transparent layer by looking in the Layers palette over on the right hand side here. It's transparent. There's nothing there. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a box. I'm going to make this very simple, by the way, just for the sake of instructions. And we're just going to make a box, and I'm going to put a color in here. Maybe I'll use sort of a pretty blue. So I have chosen the color picker, and I'm picking sort of a pale turquoise color. And I'm going to use the bucket to just fill it in. And so that's the color that it is. Now I can adjust the opacity from here because I want it to be a little more pale. And I'm keeping the white background for now so that I can see actually. If it was just on transparent, it wouldn't be so easy for me to see. Ultimately, we will turn the background off. But just for now, we've got a nice, very soft, sort of a peacock turquoise color in the background. And I'm just going to add some text. The text I'm going to add is a copyright symbol for copyright, and let's see, we're using times, and that looks pretty good. It's option G, by the way, is the copyright symbol. And then I'm just going to type my name. Now it is typing number 1 small, and it's in that turquoise color because that's what's selected in my type color. And I don't want that color, obviously. I just want something nice and simple. I do like times. We'll change that in a minute, but I'm going to immediately change the color of my text and just make it black. And I'm also going to change the size of my text because obviously I want it to fill the space. Let's see what 72 looks like. And that's pretty good. Now, just so you know, the drop-down menu allows it to go to 72, but you can also just highlight that and add in whatever size you want. Not only that, and this is too big, but I actually could do something even different. So I could do Command T and then grab the corners, one of the corners, hold down the Shift key to constrain the proportion, and I can make my type smaller that way as well. So you'll notice that I still have a lot of space top and bottom, and I really don't want that much space top and bottom. So I either have to alter the size of my document or I have to make some changes. And I just realized I kind of want my blue to come all the way out to the outside. So I've just clicked on that layer and I hit Command T. I grab the corners, and I'm not worrying about constraining the proportion on that because there's nothing to make it look wonky. And I have just said, okay, I'm hitting return, and we're going to let that be that. Now, just for the sake of this experience and showing you how to make a transparent ping, I am going to go ahead and add some more imagery just to fill the space so that you can see how it's going to look. So we're going to add a new layer. I do like to add new layers to do this because then I have more control over the layers individually. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw a circle. Now, I could either draw a circle like this, or I can actually hold down my Shift key and start to draw, and then it gives me a perfectly constrained circle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that again with my bucket, and I'm clicking on the foreground background colors, and I'm going to pick a slightly lighter color in this case, and I'm just going to spill it in there. And you'll notice that it had a very soft edge. Now I can either leave that edge or I can undo it and I can go back. It's one of the things that I like to do. or one of the reasons why I like to add new layers, because that gives me more flexibility. So I didn't really want it like that. So I am going to go ahead, and these are things you'll figure out. You'll forget to look at your feather too. So I actually want a zero feather. I want a very hard edge. And to get a hard edge, I use a zero feather. Again, I've held down the shift key, and I'm now going to once again spill the color that I had chosen earlier. And I'm going to bring it below the name char creole so it fits behind it. And I'm going to change my opacity. I do want it to stand out a little bit. And I'm going to do that again, believe it or not. I'm going to add one more new layer. Let's unclick that. I'm going to add one more new layer, layer 3, and I'm going to add one more circle. Why not? I'm holding down the shift key, and I'm going to let these overlap. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. I don't know, I'm just trying to create something fun. There's yellow here. I don't necessarily want that particular yellow, but let's find a yellow I like. Let's give it a little paler color. And again, with the paint bucket, I'm going to let that paint in. All right. I'm going to lower the opacity of this particular layer and let the other layers shine through. So it's very delicate. We're going to add one. Actually, let's go ahead and copy this circle, and then I copied it, Command C. I just pasted it, Command V. And now I'm going to move it around this particular circle. Interesting. Let's click off of that for a second, and let's just get that one layer and move it. I'm not sure why this layer. Oh, it's there. It's just so faint I could barely see it. Okay, so let's go ahead, Command T, and we're going to hold the corner. I'm holding down the Shift key so that again I can constrain the proportions. I don't really want it to be other than a perfect circle. So that's what I did. All right. So I'm hitting return, and now I'm going to change the opacity of this as well. We're going to make it just a little bit brighter. It was interesting because I could just barely see that other one, and we can still move it around anywhere we like. And this is just for the sake of the exercise. Truth is, I probably wouldn't use this logo. And I'm going to create one more. Let's just get out of that. I'm just going to duplicate that layer, and now I'm going to move this circle a little bit over here, just sort of creating an interesting balance. Actually, I kind of like that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put another color in here. I'm probably going to go with something a little more green. We're going to go ahead and spill that in. It's interesting. Anyway, you get the idea. So essentially, I have filled the entire section, this document that I created, a 10 by 6. I could also add anything in here, extraordinary photography, photography in a color. It's the green color there, but I would change that again to black. I'm also going to make it a lot smaller. Photography, copyright, char, creole. And I'm just making this interesting so we can see what's possible. Now, as you know, I can also change my fonts. And there's a particularly interesting font that I like called the King and Queen font, which, wow, now it's gigantic, so we have to adjust again. This is an ongoing sort of a tango that you have to do with all these different tools, right? And also, I want to add some more space between my name here, but I kind of like that. I'm just going to click off of it, and now I see that I have to move it a little bit. I can also move the photography, the word photography, just by clicking on it. I was able to do that because I have my auto select selected. So if you have auto select selected, when you have the move tool, it'll pick whatever layer you choose, right? So here's the turquoise circle, the yellow circle, the very pale yellow circle, the green circle. As you can see, I have just managed to click through any one of those layers that I want to access simply by having the auto select selected. It's really, really useful. So this is just an example to show you a transparent ping. Now, if I'm ready to save this, all I have to do is turn off my background layer, and this is what the logo is going to look like. And right here, I'm going to go to Save As, and Untitled to it says, so I'm going to say char logo sample, and I'm going to I do want to save it as a PSD initially. That allows me to keep all my layers intact so that I can do adjustments later. And now I'm going to do another save as, and I'm going to make this a ping. So I'm going to scroll down in here, a ping, and I'm also going to put that on my desktop. I'm going to go no compression fast and interlace none, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Now when you're in Lightroom and you go to the export, when you're exporting and you click on the watermark section, you're able to add a graphic. And the graphic you need to add is a transparent ping. So this will go right on your graphic, your picture that you're exporting, and it works beautifully. There you go. Enjoy.